Retain gang, what's popping, man? This your boy Tay. Got a special guest with us today, Mr. GoldJacketLuke. It's gonna be a great talk today, great topic. So for those of you who don't know who he is, I'm gonna let him introduce himself, and his channel and what he talks about.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's an honor being here, having this conversation with you. I'm a fan of your channel. Always great vibes, and yeah, it's an honor to be here with the Retain gang.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, I've been on YouTube for quite a while, like 7 years or something now. And I first started talking about personal development, spirituality, psychology, a little social anxiety, dating type of stuff like that. And then I started talking about porn addiction and nofap because I had a big porn addiction, and it was a really serious issue for me. And I actually ended up going to therapy for my porn addiction several years ago. It was a big serious thing for me. And over the last 3-4 years, I still talk about personal development, spirituality, all those other topics. But probably the biggest thing I focus on is retention, seed retention, porn addiction, nofap, sexual mastery, and all those things, because I feel like it's one of the most important topics for young men and some young women too. It's such an important thing, and there aren't that many resources or people talking about it. So it's I think it's so important. Yeah, I really like your videos on retention, and yeah, it's so important. I get lots of fulfillment talking about it.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate what you're doing too, because a lot of guys need to hear this message, and the more content creators that start to spread this message, it's helping out all of us as a whole, as a collective.
Definitely. Yeah, it's the more awareness. Lots of people haven't even heard of retention or think porn is just normal. It's crazy how normalized it is. Just the more people talking about it and spreading awareness, the more the whole the rising current rises all the boats. We just need more awareness, more people to wake up.
Right.
And because it's porn and sexuality, lots of people are afraid. Lots of maybe more established creators or even religious leaders or politicians or parents, they're kind of afraid to talk about sexual stuff. So there's a huge need for people to talk about this.
Mm-hmm. So what I want to get into first is what we were talking about behind the scenes. And it was just how the month of April, the energy was just so dense, and a lot of creative energy was missing, a lot of motivation. Like I had lost motivation and just the energy to really get up and go to the gym, to post, to interact with you guys. And it was just that my energy was gone, not because I relapsed or anything, but it was just the atmosphere. And I know a lot of you guys felt the same way, because you guys, reached out to me and told me just how you were going through it. And, you lack motivation, you lack drive. So we're going to get into that, man, just of how when you get into those moments, you got to learn how to stay strong. Right.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Gold, and he was going through the same thing. So what I want to ask you is, like, what are some things that you do to like really help you through those moments where you have no motivation, no drive, no will to really get up and just be your best version?
Excellent topic. Yeah. And it's, before the live started, we were just talking how, we both felt this heavy energy a week or two ago. And yeah, before I was uploading 1-2 videos a week, sometimes even 3 videos a week. And all of a sudden I didn't upload for about 2 weeks, because I definitely felt some heavy energy current or something. So it's interesting. You went through the same thing, and several of my clients went through the same thing. And I was just very lethargic and tired, and just felt this heavy energy and some frustration. And it seems like, it's kind of been a current lots of people have felt. One of the big, through hard times, it's important to be strong, but through hard times, there's always lessons and insights that maybe wouldn't come when things are going well and smooth. So I think it's always good to, I think you talked about how it's hard times almost turns us into diamonds. We kind of need that positive pressure. We need to kind of be pushed down to learn the insights of what's the best way to grow. So for me, one of the insights I had is I got to be prioritizing exercise and working out more. The last couple of months, I have been slacking some, with the gym and the diet, and just, I need to put on some weight. I'm too skinny right now. So I realized just the gym and working out helps so much just with my mental health and emotional health. I'm more confident, more self-esteem. And I feel more social. It helps with my mental and emotional health so much, and just feeling more energized. So that's one lesson I learned. So I've been the last 5 days been working out more, and I finally feel out of that little slump now. And you said you're feeling you're back in rhythm too now.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up about pressure makes diamonds. Because that's really how I felt. It was a moment where I had so much pressure on me, and I didn't know why. Like, I didn't do anything wrong, but at the same time, it was a transformation period. I felt like the month of April for me was a transformation period. There's a lot of things that's changed in my life in that past month, and it's for the better, right? I'm coming out the other side a new person. And through those times, guys, through those times, I did not go backwards and start doing old toxic habits. I didn't start indulging in things. I still stayed on my path. Even though it was hard for me, I lacked the energy, the motivation, I stayed on my path. That's that warrior mentality that we're trying to build up.
Yeah.
So guys, it's very, very important that
that's huge.
You keep your daily habits. This is why we have our daily habits, and we promote good lifestyle every single day, good habits, because when you get to those moments where it gets hard, this is when that discipline kicks in. Okay, that discipline kicks in, and now you're able to fight through it. Even though it's hard, you have that strength to fight through it. We prepare ourselves for hard times.
Big time, and it's easy to make excuses during hard times. I remember like a month ago, someone messaged me, "Oh, it's because it's the pandemic. Is it okay if I let go of my seat sometimes?" And I was like, "No, bro, no excuses. You got to have you got to have the mindset of a champion." It's hard times. You could either make excuses, or you could use that as an opportunity, as the best time to grow. It's an opportunity to test your discipline and test your character. And then if you could be successful during those hard times when things go back, or things are in rhythm, it's that much easier. And then you have that much more energy and growth to develop even more new ways.
Yeah, that's facts. Because if you don't have a reason for why you want to release, then you shouldn't be doing it. And then, like he said, it's an excuse. It's a sign of weakness for you to say, "Oh, well, I guess I'll just release." But do you have a purpose for it? Because instead of you releasing, you could be using that energy for something else. But you gotta learn how to utilize it.
Exactly.
Okay, guys, this is why we do these things, man, so we can build ourselves up and strengthen our spirit, strengthen our mind, our bodies. Okay. We have to stay on point.
So when you a week or two ago, when there were some hard times, did you have some temptations to not go to the gym or to release? What were you thinking mentally to stay strong during those times? How were you able to do it?
So for me, man, I always look back at where I came from, how far I've came, all the hard work that I put in, over this course of time. And I always look at myself in the past when I was grinding and had high energy, and just all the time and energy I put into building myself up. And I look at that person I was, and I'm saying, I don't want to let that guy down, because he had a vision, and it's like, it's my duty to uphold that vision. I have to stay on point.
I love that. Yeah.
That always helps me out, man. I don't want to go backwards. I don't want to lose all my progress. I've came too far. Just think about, guys, all the days that you go and those little battles you got to win every single day just to keep your your seed, or just to get up and go to the gym, just to get up and be productive. Those little battles mentally you have to fight through, right? And each day is putting you on a course of those decisions that you made. It's putting you on that reality. So you don't want to slip up and lose all that off of a urge or a weakness.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's so true. It's an object emotion stays emotion. So if we're on our game a month ago, 2 months ago, that momentum will help carry us forward. And the hard work we do today, that's going to have benefits a month down the line, 3 months down the line. It's an object of rest stays at rest. If we're lazy today, we're going to be lazy tomorrow. We're going to be lazy in a month. That's so true about the hard work we do in our past. It has echoes that are so impactful.
That's facts. So let me get some questions real fast. Shout out to Nikolowski. I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. Said, fellas, what do you think? Hold on, let me go back up to it. Fellas, what do you think? How come retaining makes me feel really engaged in the now and I appreciate life more deeply?
Yeah, well, when we're releasing our seed and climaxing, especially if we're looking at porn, that's a super stimulus. It releases lots of dopamine and really impacts our reward center. And if we're living this life where we're always, chasing these highs and climaxing, then everyday normal things, it's hard to be present with. It's hard to have stimulation and engagement towards them, whether it's cooking, going to the gym, doing chores, doing the work you got to do. It's harder to be present with those things because your brain wants this high from climax. It's a super stimulus. So we take away that releasing our seed, and then all of a sudden, everyday normal things are more stimulating, more engaging, and it's more easy to be present with them. And also, not releasing your seed trains your mind to be disciplined. Having that urge and then being, no, I'm not going to give into this. That mindset rubs into every other area of your life, whether it's the gym, doing chores areas. And when you're more disciplined in all areas of your life, you're just in this rhythm, you're in this flow. And when you're in this flow, it's easy to be present. So just that mental discipline training is very powerful. And when you're in that mode, boom, it's just so much easier to be present with everything.
Yeah. And I want to add to that too. When you are retaining, you're stockpiling resources in your body. So what happens is when you have what you need, like you become more relaxed and more calm. When you're hungry, when you're starving, right, you're in panic mode. Like you're in distress. You're trying to get it. You're trying to survive. So your body does the same thing. When you're constantly releasing all the time, you're depleting yourself of minerals and vitamins and all types of resources. So your body goes in panic mode and you become real anxious. But when you start to stockpile that back up by holding on to your seed, now your body goes into a calm state because it has all the resources that it needs inside. So this is why you start to feel appreciative and more present in the now, because now you're in a mindset where you can focus on what's going on instead of trying to survive.
Huge. So yeah. And also when looking at porn or releasing, that distracts your mind. I know back in the day when I used to release, before some people think scratching that releasing is almost like this itch and you scratch the itch and you get relieved. But for me, after I would release, like later that night, I would have even more fantasies about that type of stuff and be thinking about porn. The image of porn that I looked at earlier in the day would be stuck in my head, and it would just clutter my mind to make me hard to be present with things because I'd be fantasizing about girls or porn and having all these lustful thoughts. So you take all that away and only release your seed for purposeful reasons. Suddenly your mind is so much more clear and focused. You're not having all these lustful fantasies or staring at cheeks walking around when you're at the grocery store or whatever it is, but you're focused. You're a man on purpose.
Yeah, them cheeks will get you, man. You staring at them cheeks. What happened when I used to be, in my beginning stages of my journey, I would feel real burnt out. It's almost like my sensories up here would just be burnt out because they've been overstimulated.
Yeah.
So I would always have like real heavy energy in my mind, and it would just make me tired and drained just from thoughts, just from the thoughts alone, not even engaging in activity, but just thinking. So Remember,
Big time.
guys, just by you lusting, like if you overlust, you know, you're burning out those receptors in your mind and those senses, and it's going to make you desensitized. Okay, so it's all about balance. This is why, like he said earlier, you want to make sure that you're doing productive things in your life, because you have that reward system. Those chemicals get released when you accomplish things. And that's what you want that release to be towards, not towards instant gratification, which is lust and watching the hub and going on watching flicks. That's instant gratification.
Yeah.
You didn't deserve that. So it creates an imbalance inside of you. Okay.
Reward without effort. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're training your brain. I deserve pleasure even without working for it.
Facts.
Yeah.
So I want to get into now, because like you do consultations like I do too. We have many clients, and a lot of my clients, and I know you told me yours as well, tend to, you know, have trouble on this journey. And my question to you is, what is the most common theme of your clients when it comes to them needing help? Or what is that most common thing that they have trouble with on this journey?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. I can think of a lot of different things. I'm trying to think of what the number one and most important thing is. It's hard. I could think of maybe the top three things, but one would be just having some emotional or mental outlet to kind of talk about these things. I feel like lots of my clients, when we have our first call and they're telling me about their hub addiction or their problems releasing their seed, they tell me often that this is their first time talking to anyone about their problem that's been a huge thing with them for years and years and years. So just having someone to talk about it with, it feeds that strongest version of yourself personality. It's almost like people have two separate personalities. Their strongest version of themselves who doesn't look porn, and then that kind of that personality that falls for craving. And it's like they've never shown light on this side with anyone. It's like living in the darkness, living in the shadows, and just talking about it with someone. So whether it's getting a consultation with Dante, or telling a friend, or getting an accountability partner, just getting a therapist, just having someone to talk to about it and getting it kind of off your mind and out of your unconscious and making it more present, making it more conscious, that takes a lot of the power back. I'm sure what I found having a YouTube channel talking about retention, I'm sure you found too, just talking about it, and it just makes it a more, it takes the power back in the way. It's very liberating. Porn doesn't have power over me. I have power over it. And my personality is fully like, aligned. There's no repression about it. It's something if I go on a date with a girl, I'll talk about it with a girl on a first date. I talk about friends, even some family every once in a while. But it's this, and just talking about and getting that expression out, I found is one powerful thing.
Yeah.
Have you found making YouTube videos about it has helped your discipline and mindset about it a lot?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I would say being on YouTube makes me more accountable.
Yeah.
I have to be more aware of my actions.
Yeah.
And how I present myself. I can't be on here telling guys how to do this and do that, and then I'm doing the opposite. I'm over here relapsing. I'm being weak.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it gives me makes me hold accountability for myself, and it actually makes me better.
Yeah.
It makes me stronger. Because I know I have to be that person. Like, there's a lot of people that watch me and they look up to me.
Yeah.
So I'm a big brother myself. I got two younger brothers. I'm the oldest. So like, I've always had that mindset of just being responsible, and being that example.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you said, man, when I do my consultations, a lot of people just feel better just by having that conversation with me.
Yeah.
Because a lot of guys, they tell me they can't talk about this stuff to anybody else. So just being able to release and being able to have somebody that understands,
a lot of pressure
makes them leave that conversation feeling a lot better and doing a lot more, going a lot longer on their streaks, and just becoming a better person in general.
Big time. Big time.
So I think just that in itself is it's a big help. And then on top of that, you know, that energy that I'm getting from that person is helping me out as well. You know, because we see ourselves in people and we can learn from people, you know, just by having a conversation with somebody that's like-minded like you know, they can give you information that you didn't, or make you think about things differently.
It's
So I've learned a
mastermind
lot in my
principle. Yeah.
consultations. I've learned a lot from
Yeah.
those guys.
Big
You
time,
know?
same. And whenever having those conversations, we're feeding that part of ourselves, that the part of ourselves that that wants to be a sexual master, that wants discipline over these things. You know, we're feeding that sub personality that is the king in this realm. You know, and it's important to always have conversations and feed that energy. And in the 12-step, you know, AA programs, the 12-step program, the last step is help other people who are not quite as long in the journey. You know, people early on, and that's part of the healing process for people who are more advanced, is to help people who are not quite as far along in the journey. Yeah, because you learn so much more insights, then you become responsible. You can't let someone down who you're helping. So that's huge.
Yeah, that's facts.
Another big thing I would say would be just be a lot more mindful about technology usage. So lots of my clients, they tend to relapse at night. So I tell them, you know, this is what I had to do several years ago, is you set a time, whether it's 10 p.m., 9:30 p.m., and you say, I'm not going to allow myself to be on technology after 9:30 p.m. or 10 p.m., you know, and then I would actually put my phone in a drawer, put my laptop in a closet, or, you know, put it under something. So it's just out of sight, out of mind. Because if you're on your phone or your computer at 10:30 at night or something, it's just so easy to have that thought and click to the hub or wherever someone goes, you know. So just create structure around your technology use. You know, put screen times on your on the apps. Get some porn type blocker. You know, all of that stuff can be a huge game changer. It's one of the first steps for an alcoholic is take the alcohol away from the kitchen and get all the alcohol out of the house. But with porn, it's in our pocket at all times. So we need to create some structure about how we use our technology, because I find that porn addiction and technology addiction, there's lots of overlap.
That's facts, man. Let me get some of these comments. Ali, hello, much love to the guys in this field, bringing me the wisdom at 20. Shout out to you, man. Who else we got out? Let's see. Wade said, I recently made it to 100 days before relapsing. How do you keep going after you meet your goals? Number of days?
That's a great question.
I'm actually going to make a video on this too, because a lot of guys, you know, they struggle with this because they don't have no purpose of why they're doing it. You know, retention goes beyond the physical benefits and the attraction. Once you start going these amount of days, you have to transcend yourself. So it becomes more of you going after what you want in life, right? Really creating your reality. That's how you go further. Because if you just stay on the attraction level and just all the physical benefits, I'm getting stronger, I'm, you know, all these things, then it's going to wear off after a while. And those benefits don't feel as good as they did when you first started, because you get used to it. It becomes a natural part of you.
Definitely. Yeah, 2 days ago, I had a client who I think relapsed Sunday on 80 days. And what he said was, in the beginning, the first 30 days, 45 days, he took everything really seriously. He had his vigilance, but slowly over time, he started to give some leeway to kind of some of those habits and mindsets that he took so seriously, you know, in the very beginning. So what you were saying about finding some deeper purpose and deeper why, and kind of morphing onto that next level, that's huge important. Yeah, that could make a great video. So much to talk about there. But yeah, it's just that reminder. It's there's almost this amnesia that can set in around 90 days, 100 days, where it almost becomes like natural. And we need to constantly remind ourselves, hey, this is something that could attack really quickly at any time. And the importance of always staying vigilant and keep doing those habits and routines and having those mindsets that you had day one, week one, month one. and to stay vigilant and not. The client I talked to Relapse after 80 days, he had a thought, I just want to look at this one picture of one girl, and I'm on 100 days. What's looking at this one picture would hurt? And, and he looked at that one picture, exited out. But he said later that day, he was like, no, let me just look at this one video. And it's just this insidious, slippery slope that all of a sudden he was binging, released the seed multiple times after being successful for 100 days. So, yeah, the longer you go, you got to stay vigilant, and you got to be very mindful of your thoughts and not let any slip through, because one little slip, it could lead to a binge. Yeah.
The choices you make are very important, man, because like he said, he made that one choice to look at that picture, and that affected his whole day.
Yeah.
So your choices are really what pinpoints you throughout your day. That's what really makes your day, is your choices. That creates your reality. So
those micro decisions. Yeah.
Those micro decisions, man. Let me see.
He got humbled. Yeah. He said, he thought, I'm on 100 days, I can handle looking at a picture, but no. So it's one thing is you got to stay humble. You got to stay vigilant. You got to, these forces of these images and videos, they're powerful. So we got to stay humble.
Mm-hmm.
Once we get arrogant, I'm 100 days, I got this, we get a little cocky, boom, that's when it'll hit.
All right. Shout out to Ali, another Ali, on day 67 at 18 years old, and life has never been better. Grateful for you guys for spreading this valuable message. Hey, man, congratulations to your streak. Like I say, keep going, stay strong.
Awesome, Ali. Respect.
Oh, here's a good question right here. Did you guys relapse a lot before you got to your high streaks?
It's I think I learned about retention and NoFap in like 2012, and it took finally at the end of 2013, I actually was able to do 90 days. So maybe a year of relapsing until I did 90 days. And then the thing was 2014, 2015, most of 2016, I kept relapsing. Maybe I had some streaks, 60 days, 90 days, but it took me until the end of 2016. And then at that point, I actually started an 800-day streak. And I'm extremely proud of that. I decided to go to therapy, and I took this extremely seriously. And I did 800 days, but it took me several years of relapsing and hard work, to get to that level.
Yeah.
So there's some people who could jump right into it, but for most people, it's hard work.
Yeah, that's facts. Because for me, I've been on my journey for 5 years, and I would say like the first 3 years was rough. Like I went on so many high streaks. I went on 90 days and relapse. I've been over 100 days and relapse. And it's like every time I relapse, especially going for like hundreds of days, you just kind of feel like, man, like, do I even want to start this journey again? Because that's a long time. I was high up on the mountain. I just fell all the way down. So it's like, do I even have the energy or the motivation to even do that again? But that's the key, man. You just got to keep going. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep striving. You don't stop. No matter how many times you fail, keep picking yourself up, because that's when you're going to get, this journey is going to get a lot easier for you the longer you stick with it.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like I'm at a point right now in my life where relapsing is not even an issue for me. Like I'm on a 2-year streak right now, a little over 2 years. And it's like, I don't wake up in the morning saying, oh, I got to hold my seed today. Like that's just a part of my lifestyle. Like I don't think about that. I'm thinking about conquering my day. What can I accomplish today? That's what I'm thinking about. I have no temptation. I won't say temptation, but I don't have no urge to release at all. Like that's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. But I've been doing it for so long. I've been doing this for 5 years, and I failed for the first 3 years. So it didn't happen overnight, but eventually after about 3 years, one day I just got on the streak and I never stopped. I'm still going. So that's how it happens, fellas. You got to stick with it.
Yeah. It's like that Zen saying, fall down 7 times, stand up 8 times. And eventually you hit that momentum.
Yeah, that's facts. Hit that momentum, man.
And it gets so much easier the longer you go. Yeah. You gotta dig deep early on, but once you create that momentum and those thought patterns start to go away, the neurology changes in your brain, it gets a lot easier, but it's tough to get to that point.
That's facts. That's facts. So let me see.
That's congrats on 2+ years. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you, man. You know, but you know, we work hard though. These everyday little battles that we face just to be on this journey. Once you get to that point, it's like it's well deserved. You earned it. So it doesn't feel like, oh, you know what I mean? The feeling is not, oh, how did I get here? The feeling is I deserve this because I built myself up to this point.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like in life. If you want something, like say I want to get in shape and I'm out of shape right now. The more I go to the weight room and I'm going through the mental stress and just the pain of lifting, once I start getting in shape, I'm going to be a whole different person by that time. My mind is going to be different. So you're not thinking about it the same way you did before you started your journey. You know what I mean? You're battle hardened now. You've been through the trenches. So you don't have that same, I guess, excitement, if that's the right word to use.
Yeah. In the beginning, there's this excitement. Oh, I'm on 30 days. I'm on 60 days. And it just becomes who you are after a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but what I want to ask you is okay, on your journey, what is one of the greatest things that you experienced on your journey? Like, not necessarily benefits, but just what has retention led you to as far as your life?
Yeah, that's an excellent question.
Or I guess I can even kind of reword that. If you wasn't on retention, like, do you think your life would be the same? Do you think that retention led you to a certain place in your life?
A huge time. Yeah. Like, when you first asked that question, 5-7 things popped into my mind, you know.
Yeah.
Huge. I'd say one of the biggest things is it's dramatically changed my interactions with women. I feel like I'm interacting with women almost like something just feels very right about how I interact with women. And I'd say from puberty till I seriously got on my retention journey, I always felt maybe I was a little off, a little awkward, a little overly lustful, a little scared of women. But, you know, it was hard for me to be my true, authentic, very confident self around women. But once I started retaining, it increased my self-esteem a lot. It increased, and I started seeing, because when you're releasing these pictures and videos or fantasies all the time, you start to really objectify women, and it kind of goes even subconscious. I would have dreams about looking at the hub and stuff. It was pretty bad, you know, showing how it affected my unconscious. And I'd say now, you know, sure, maybe I'll get a little nervous if there's a really attractive girl, but I feel like I see women as just human beings, you know, as someone who has dreams and insecurities, you know, and to like I don't like I've this over objectification, over lustfulness. I didn't even know I had. It was almost unconscious. It's just so prevalent in our society, and as a porn addict, I didn't even know how messed up I was looking towards women. And over time, being on the retention journey, I just feel much more comfortable with women, much more being my true self, and seeing women really for who they are. And yeah, last year I had a great short relationship with a woman, and that's yeah, I'd say that's the best, you know, relationship I've had compared to all my everything else I had before with girls pre-retention. So it really changes your relationship with the feminine.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that too, because I've noticed on my journey, like the more I've been holding on, like the type of women who come into my life, as far as like I meet, are on a different vibration. Like when I first started, it was like a lot of low vibrational women, you know what I mean? And they just really just wanted my energy. But
yeah,
now I start to meet, you know, men and women alike who are on the same frequency and who are trying to better themselves, who might have went through a spiritual awakening, you know, and it's like, it's almost like a whole nother reality or a paradigm where it's like these people, all these people who are like me are at. you know, and it's like I was raising my consciousness to get there, raising
It's
my energy
huge.
to get there, you know.
Yeah.
Because I would have never thought, you know, there's a lot of guys think that they have to, you know, hide from women and just be like to themselves. But I mean, you don't have to do that, man. It's this journey is about self-control. And then there's women out there who will understand what you're doing, and you know, they're going to be on a higher frequency where y'all bouncing that energy back and forth. Right. So I don't want you guys to think that you just got to be this person sitting in the corner for the rest of your life, not dealing with people, man. Like, you still want to get out and just be a real person. But we just do this
Big
to
time.
control ourselves, right? Get away from that programming that we had. Because when I used to watch flicks, porn, man, like that's what we was raised on, that in a sense. And like that's how we thought it was, the interaction was with a woman.
Yeah.
You know, doing all that crazy
It gets
stuff,
conditioned
man.
in. Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody really taught us the real way to deal with a woman in an intimate way.
Yeah.
We was raised off porn. Like we saw those scenes, and that's how we thought that interaction was supposed to be. And it's a lot deeper than that.
Big time. Yeah. 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 Like what you're saying about the type of vibration of people we attract. Yeah. Like attracts like. So yeah, the last girlfriend I had, she was into meditation, and she read a ton. She read like a book a week. And, I really liked how, 5, 6, 7 years ago, maybe I was more attracted to just like the physically attractive woman, or kind of almost like party girls in a way. But now it's like I want a woman who meditates. I want a woman who's into spirituality.
Yeah.
I want a woman who's done some inner work, you know?
Yeah. And
that's huge.
Right. Because I know a lot of guys, some guys don't want to take it to the extreme. Like me, I'm not releasing at all. I'm not going to tell you guys to go and release. But some guys, you know, you might not want to be alone. You might want to have a girlfriend or something. You know, everybody's different. So in doing that, you got to be, you know, make sure that somebody, if you do find a girl that you like, it's somebody who is going to be on that frequency. You know what I mean? They have to be on that frequency, because if they don't understand your journey, then it's going to be your downfall.
Yeah.
It's going to be your downfall. So
you have to be very selective. Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very selective. And that's what this journey does. You can't just go out, you know, just anywhere and just be with any woman, man, because your energy is different now. You're more sensitive to people and just their spirit. So, you know, it really changes you, and it kind of changes your perspective on relationships.
Huge, huge. Yeah.
See, we gotta appreciate the $20 donation, Shaquan. I'm enjoying these conversations, bro. Retention, fasting, diet, meditation, and fitness has risen my spirit and energy at an all-time high. A huge thank you, Dante, for sharing your truth and wisdom. I appreciate you for all the support. Hey, keep grinding. It don't stop here. It only gets better. So I appreciate you.
Awesome, Shaquan. Yeah, I just want to say to all the viewers out there, if Dante has an amazing energy, and I highly recommend you hit him up for a consultation. And I see Dante blowing up over the next 6 months, several years. So his price will probably going up as demand goes up. So get those consultations in while you can.
I appreciate that plug, man. I appreciate that. But yeah, fellas, this journey is rough. It's not easy. And like I told you guys, last month I was going through it. Not necessarily like trouble relapsing, but just with my energy and me just getting up and getting things done. I get it too. I'm on my streak, and even on my long streak, I still get highs and lows of life. I still feel it. But the difference is that every day I'm trying my best to live my best life and just be my best version. So with those daily habits that I'm practicing every single day, that makes me strong in hard times, right? Where when my energy does drop, and I'm on that roller coaster, I still have enough strength to keep myself going, right? Even when I don't feel like it, I'm still going. So you guys, when you guys are getting these urges, you got to block that. You got to, at that moment, you got to sit there and you have to analyze what you're thinking, where that thought came from, all these things before you act on it. Remember, guys, this is about self-control. It's not about just retaining. It's about self-control. So even you blocking those thoughts, you taking the time and telling yourself if you want to act on that thought or not, that's control. That's all a part of the journey. The more that you do this, the stronger and stronger you get. Okay. Practice makes perfect. Repetition.
Facts.
Let's see. So let's see if we got some more questions in here.
Yeah, I liked what you were saying about not turning away from women, and it seems like there are lots of guys who almost want to be like a monk, or it's almost, I think they've maybe been frustrated with their experiences with women or feel rejected, and then they go to the opposite extreme and completely ignore women and work on themselves, which should be good for a period of time.
Yeah.
But you got to prioritize yourself, but you don't want to. The goal is to have harmonious relationships with women and to love women and appreciate women and have gratitude. And yeah, there's challenges and there's women bring up our insecurities. So sometimes it's okay to turn away for a period of time. But I see lots of negativity towards a woman, and there's lots of toxic stuff on the internet. And, you know, I always stand up to that and be like, no, that's toxic stuff. They're just reflecting the toxic stuff within. If you do the work, kill yourself. There are lots of beautiful, amazing, wholesome women out there who are, you know, and it's but we got to level ourselves up to find those girls. But it's not turning away from women, but we got to be courageous and turn towards women and find those great women.
That's facts, man, because it is a little toxic. And I just look at it from, you know, a grounded perspective. Like, man, we all have a mother. You might have a sister, aunties, man, your grandmother. So it's like the way that you view women, man, you got to understand that you have women in your family. You come from a woman. One of my videos, I said, we all have a belly button. Everybody has a belly button, which means you was attached to a woman at once. She gave you life. So it's not so much disrespecting, but like he said, sometimes you got to take a break for a while, a few years, and just get yourself right and build yourself up as a man, as a leader. You know, I grew up with my mom and my dad, and I see my grandparents together. So that family structure, right? It did a lot for me as a child. Just seeing both your parents together and seeing your grandparents together. That and a young child, man, that does so much for them because you get to see a structure, a family unit, and how the feminine and masculine energy interact with each other. Your family is like your first community that you see. Right, that's your world. So everything that you see in your family, that's kind of shapes and molds you. Right, there's a lot of broken homes out here, so that kind of influences a lot of this toxic behavior. People not growing up seeing that interaction, so they just kind of lost.
And then they project that mindset onto everyone, not knowing that harmonious interactions and relationships do exist. So yeah, it's important to stay positive and yeah.
Always, man, you know, but at the same time, we do got to focus on ourselves as men.
Yeah.
You know, that's that rites of passage, being a loner. A man has to be a loner for a while in his life. If you see a male lion, when he gets of age, he gets kicked out the pride and he's by himself. He has to learn how to hunt by himself. He has to do everything by himself, learn how to fight. And then eventually he finds a female and he creates his own pride. And then the cycle continues.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you can look at nature, man, and take a lot, learn a lot from nature.
Yeah, yeah. Very true.
So, let's see. I had a comment up here. Where's she at? Oh, Lone Wolf, 163 days on semen retention, never turning back. Hey, man, congratulations. That's boss moves right there, man. That's a lot of days. Keep on going.
Very awesome. Yeah.
Keep on going. Got Jovia Torres. I respect you two so much. This conversation is important for women to hear as well, so that we can have a better understanding of what men go through. Facts.
Appreciate Jovia. Means a lot.
And I noticed I started to get a lot more women watching my channel too, just because a lot of them never heard of this, and they probably never met guys that's doing this.
Yeah.
I can guarantee. So these are, you know, this message is something that needs to be spread. And I think it's spreading. It's starting to catch on.
It is.
You know, it's starting to catch on. Let's see.
Yeah, back 5 years ago when we were looking at the hub and stuff, there was no resources, barely anyone on YouTube talking about it, barely any websites, barely any awareness. We were struggling in the dark to figure this out. Now, at least, there's so much more guidance and information and support. I remember 5 years ago, I was like, should I really be retaining my seed, or maybe is it healthy to release every once in a while? There wasn't as much information out there. We had to figure this out ourselves, and at least now the movement has grown a lot, and it's only growing probably exponentially.
Yeah.
So that's one good thing about the current times.
I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm sorry. Guarav. I'm sorry if I'm messing it up. After a year-long streak, I've started to encounter a lot of negative emotions, scary dreams, making me feel paranoid because most of my thoughts turn real. Please share how to overcome this. So the reason why you're experiencing negative emotions is because it's something that you have to release, right? So remember, as you're retaining, that energy is rising up. And as it rises up, it's cleaning out house. It's going to push any negativity, any heavy energies. It's going to push it to the top to make you deal with it and cleanse it out. So the reason why you're starting to experience like dreams and things like that, negative emotions, is because there's still parts of yourself that you have to detox, right? So this journey is all about detoxing too. It's going to force you to deal with yourself. And that's what I love about retention. It forces you to deal with your problems.
Yeah. It's, I think most people who are releasing their seed all the time or escaping through any addiction, alcohol, drugs, or whatever, lots of that stuff stays buried and repressed. And then we start being present with our emotions without needing to escape. Some dark or traumatic stuff from the past might arise that we got to heal. And, sometimes things get worse before they get better. But if we don't go through the healing process, we're going to be carrying that energy the whole time. The only way out is through. And that's a normal process to have some negative emotions and bad dreams come up. That's stuff arising from your unconscious that's been with you maybe for a long time. And that was part of my journey. I remember having some bad dreams and stuff. But one thing I noticed is the longer I went, there was someone from my past where there was maybe some like mild trauma. But over time, I had like a series of dreams where my connection with that person actually healed in the dreams. It was this really beautiful thing. It was like deep down, my unconscious knew what it was doing and connected and healed whatever was going on. Mm-hmm. So, be positive, keep going with the journey. It's some growing pains. And, and you could even try, I'd say like, when I saw my therapist, he actually analyzed a couple of my dreams. It's like, say like whatever your dream is, analyze it, be like, why is my unconscious creating this dream? What's stuck, what's blocked? And you can analyze the dreams, and sometimes our dreams speak to us in symbolism, and then try to create in your imagination how that whatever heavy energy you have can heal in the future. If it's something with you were bullied as a kid or something, imagine in your future having an interaction with that bully and him being like, hey, I was bullying you because I was insecure. That had nothing to do with you. That was all on me. And will you forgive me? Or, imagine in the future how things can heal and have positive. It's really important to have that positive vision of what healing could look like and, move towards that. And then just do everything, as Dante was saying, of creating your own reality, of creating your own awesome life. And the more we move towards a positive life, those old things, it's a lot easier to naturally let go of them if we're living our awesome life now,
Yep.
Gotta always be moving forward. Yeah. And then that stuff naturally gets let go of and healed over time when we're moving forward.
That's facts. Also, a good way for you to lose those emotions, man, is you got to start forgiving yourself. And then you got to start repenting. Repenting is really good. It's something you want to do almost every day. Just repent for things that you think you might have done that was low vibrational or that you did to somebody. Just repent for it. Ask the Most High for forgiveness. And then forgive yourself and try to make that a daily habit. And you'll notice you start to release this energy from you. And also what you can do too is if you have certain thoughts in your head, picture that thought catching on fire and it burning up in your mind, right? Visualization is very important and it works.
Yeah. Yeah. Huge.
So
Yeah.
Just to add on to what he was saying, that'll help you out.
Love that. Yeah. Yeah. And also trust whatever you believe, whether God, higher intelligence, that things will work out eventually. You know, gotta have faith and trust that higher intelligence, that there is a plan and that things will make sense over time. Sometimes we're in the middle of things, we're like, but sometimes the bad stuff that happened to me earlier on in life that maybe I had some bad dreams about, those things end up being my biggest gifts later on in life, because it forced me to grow, it forced me to reflect.
Yeah.
So, you know, stay positive and have faith that eventually the dots will connect in the future.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I believe God, higher intelligence, has a plan.
That's facts. That's facts. EK, what do you have to say to a man who's 16 on a 5-day retention streak?
Young gun in the game.
Yeah. I would say you don't have anything to lose. Man, you're in high school, you know, I assume, and really your only focus right now is just school, whatever extracurricular activity you do. And that's it, man. You don't have to really pay no bills. I don't know your situation, but, you know, just in general, like, you probably live at home. You don't have no bills. So all you have to do is just focus on those things. Retention should be easy for you, right? It should be something that is definitely going to help you out. And, you know, at that young age, man, when I was 16, I didn't know nothing about that, right? I was letting them go at 16. So yeah, you're on the right track, man. You're ahead of the game. In 10
way
years,
ahead of the game.
10 years, you'd be 26, man. Just imagine you on this journey for 10 years, what you will accomplish at 26 by the time you're 26, right? I've been on my journey for 4 years and I've seen so many changes. And I started late in the game. You know, I was in my 20s, my late 20s when I started. So you're in your teens starting, where your energy, your hormones are fresh and new. That energy is fresh and new inside of you. So just imagine the type of manifestation power that you have and the law of attraction that you have at that age. Stick with it, man.
Yeah. For us, the hub and the stuff got hardwired in. So he's starting with a fresh slate. You know, he hasn't been conditioned by these influences yet. So you're way ahead of the game, EK. You're blessed. You know, I'd encourage you to do your very best to stay strong and take this journey seriously. It's going to reap you massive dividends over the next decade.
Mm-hmm.
That's great to see you. Yeah.
Let's see. Taquito, keep up great content. Appreciate you, man. You know, I appreciate you. Yeah, I wish I knew about this at 16 too, man. But I wasn't too bad though, like, because I was a two-sport guy. I ran track and played football. So like literally my school day was I get up in the morning, go through school. I had football practice right after school. And we would be at football practice till like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. So by the time I got home, I'm tired. I got to do homework. And that was my day, you know, and then track as well. So I really didn't have time to focus on women in high school. And that's where you want to be at. You want to fill your time up with just productive things at that age, because you know you're at a level, you're at an age where you're developing. Everything, your mind is still developing, your body, you're still growing. So you want to make sure that you're doing the most that you can, right? Because as you get older, that growing phase slows down and you start to become solidified in who you are in a sense, right? So you're like a sponge. The younger you are, you soak up information really fast. So make sure you're putting the right information in your body, mind, and soul.
And Dante, I had a question for you. So are you single now, or do you have a girlfriend, or?
Yeah, I'm single.
Okay.
I'm single. I don't have time for a girlfriend, man, honestly. You know, like I talk to women. You know, I don't fully isolate myself, but like as far as like dating and just mixing energies and stuff like that, I don't have time for it. I just got too many things that I'm trying to do right now. And, you know, it would just I feel like being in a relationship is time consuming. It takes a lot of energy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't have time to focus on that personally. But
Yeah.
who knows? One day, maybe. You know,
Mm-hmm.
when I'm in a position that I feel like I can start a family or whatever, or just get serious with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
What
But yeah,
about you?
I'm single right now. Yeah. But yeah, it's only worth it if the woman makes us better men, you know,
Mm-hmm.
not just for being in a relationship, just because we're lonely or being in a relationship's sake, but this woman, she's inspiring and we become better men because of her. And likewise, she becomes a better woman because of us. Or else, yeah, it's so many guys are needy for girls and chasing cheeks, and yeah, that's powerful. Just hey, I don't even have time. I'm focused on my grind and building myself up. So when I meet that right woman in the future, you know, I'm going to be in a great place. That's
Right.
powerful.
And then when you notice, I notice myself, man, like when you on your purpose, on your grind, women will throw themselves at you, man.
Yeah.
Right. Because the main thing women, they like your attention. They want your attention and like your time and energy. So when you're focused on grinding, like she feels that productive energy that's coming off of you, like somebody who's just about his business. You know, that you give off that aura. So a woman will be attracted to that. Trust me.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
noticed in my life that the more I focused on women, the less women I had
Yeah.
coming at me. And then the more I was just
Paradoxical.
right, and the more I was just tunnel vision focused, this is when all the distractions come. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
be on your grind, man. Definitely. Yeah. It increases your electromagnetic gravity. It facts. It does. It does. The only chase worth pursuing his purpose as a man. The women come after it as an opinion. Right. Right. I mean, you don't gotta chase, man. Chase your happiness first. And that's what we do. We try to gain control of ourselves, our emotions, our energy, and to live our best life. You know, if you don't have happiness in yourself, how can you give somebody else happiness? If I don't have no money in the bank, I can't spend it. I don't have nothing to spend. So if you're trying to find a woman, but you at a low point in your life, you know, you don't have nothing to give, right? So you got to build yourself up first.
Yeah.
Retention is the foundation to that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Get a few more questions and then we can wrap it up. Let's see. Good. What was it at?
Another Ollie.
Yeah. For a man, what would you say is the most fulfilling aspect of life? Ooh.
And that's it. What's up, Philip? That's actually a friend of mine.
Oh
Great to see
yeah.
you, Philip. Yeah.
Shout out to Philly. That's a great question, man. Um, I think for me personally, right now, like where I'm at in my journey, I would say the most fulfilling thing is living my purpose, like doing something that just resonates with me. Like when you guys see me on my channel, my YouTube channel, doing consultations, I feel like that resonates with me, and it makes me feel like I have purpose. It just makes me feel good. It puts me in a high vibration. So I think for me, a man is most fulfilled in life when he is doing something that he wants to do. He's in control of his life and he's actually living and on his purpose, giving back to the world, using his gifts. So that's what I feel like.
Yeah. I basically say the same exact answer. Just being on purpose. There's something very fulfilling about being on purpose. Developing oneself and becoming a stronger version of themselves. Yeah, especially as men in their 20s, 30s. We got to develop ourselves, build ourselves up, build up our character.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, especially when it's especially when it is aligned with some greater good or higher intelligence, you know, helping people, there definitely is a deeper fulfillment about that, of making the world a better place. Or, you know, it could even be, I love what you said at the end of your last video on energy, even just giving someone a compliment, you know, or helping someone else, or just giving someone a smile, just having that good energy and kind of connecting to that divine oneness nature in all of us. There's it just makes us feel connected. It makes us feel tapped in, and that's definitely a fulfilling thing. But as men, we always got to be leveling up, you know, and developing ourselves, growing our purpose. That's huge, and it's a great feeling as we actualize our potential and continue to elevate our game, career, fitness, financially, spiritually, attention, everything.
Facts. So we got another question. Can't make it past 10 days because the urges feel ultra powerful to the point where I have trouble sleeping even after working all day. What should I do? When I was fat, I could go 50 days at a time. So you said your urges are strong at 10 days. And that's that energy, man. You know, that's your energy you're feeling. So what you got to do is learn how to control this. You know, and that's our whole point of our journey. The fact that you even going 10 days right now that's great. That's great, man. Most guys was going, you know, multiple times a day. So the fact that you can kind of stop that and actually go 10 days, that's a win in my book, right? Don't try to worry about the destination so much, but just look at the journey and the little steps you're taking. You're getting better and better each day. Okay. It's hard. It's not easy. You're not going to get this overnight. Like I said, it took me 3 years to finally get on the streak that I'm on now. It took me 3 years of failing. Okay. So this is a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Yeah, well, that's there can be more energy imbalances in the beginning, but I'd say dig deep and try to push through. And especially 2-3 weeks in, you know, rather than these big energy fluctuations over time, 30 days, the energy starts to find a more equilibrium. So, you know, you might still be at 10 days. There might even be still some release withdrawals or porn withdrawals. So I'd say, I bet if you get back to 25 days, 30 days, your body will kind of adjust to this new energy level, and you'll be able to more easier fall asleep at that time. But, you know, doing something like, make sure you're not on technology at night. Make sure you're meditating or reading. Do stuff to support exercise and get out the excess energy during the day through work, exercise, being productive. But at night, it's important to kind of ground, center, and relax. Clear that mind. So meditation, reading, relax, you know, and then that should help a lot with your sleep. And, you know, make sure not to be on technology at night. But over time, your energetic body should adjust, you know, but that's a normal thing in the beginning to have some sleep issues that you kind of just have to push through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that imbalance, man. And you got to look at your daily lifestyle too. Like, what else are you doing? You know, your diet, just, are you working out? Are you expending that energy? You have to use that energy. If you guys missed it, you know, go ahead and go to Gold Jacket's channel where you can find part 1. And we talked about how, you know, keeping that energy stagnant, it's got to go somewhere. It needs the outlet to be released. So it's going, if you don't use that energy, it's going to go right to the closest place or to the most familiar place, which is through a release or through a relapse, because it's familiar. But you got to learn how to use that energy, right? Bring it up here into the mental and use that energy to manifest what you want. Right. Yeah. So that's why you have goals. Start writing down goals, even just daily goals, simple tasks. I'll wake up and brush my teeth, right? Simple. You do that, you cross it off. Now you're starting to use this energy and you start to use that mental power. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you did a great job talking about that. In part 1. Yeah. It's very important.
So if y'all missed that, man, go ahead and go to his channel, man, and watch that part 1, man. It was some gems dropped in that.
So keep going, Fahad, and I'm guessing over time, I'm sure over time, you know, those urges will find a more equilibrium as your body adjusts to the lifestyle. So keep going, stay strong. And I find with lots of my clients, they'll find some kind of excuse. Oh, because I'm working out more, I have more energy and I can't sleep. Or, I've heard all sorts of, it's the mind will try to trick you in any way to make you release. It's crazy, the rationalizations or hidden lies we kind of tell ourselves. So, the fact that, you're like, oh, when I was fat, I could go 50 days at a time. You got to think that's lower level thinking. That's your mind almost trying to rationalize a way to get back to that lower level. But you always got to be elevating. You always got to be improving. You can't entertain those thoughts, because the truth is there is a higher paradigm available to you where you could be in shape and controlling your energy. And, you got to focus purely on that and keep going. Because if you have that thought, eventually it might manifest into a release or gaining some weight again. So there is a higher paradigm available, but you got to push through and keep exploring. And eventually you will connect the dots in a way that it'll work. But, you just got to keep going because it's there.
That's facts, man. Beautiful, beautiful. Hey, man, this was a great live, man. I feel like might be even better than part one. We dropped some heavy gems in this one.
I think so. Yeah. They're both awesome, but yeah. This is excellent. Yeah. Thanks for having me on. This has been an honor.
Yeah. We dropped some heavy gems. Is there anything you want to add, man, before we get out of here? Or something you want to say? Any last thoughts?
Yeah, I want to say for all the guys out there and women, yeah, life can be hard at times. There's challenges, but this is seriously worth the effort. And the retention journey and just the personal development and spirituality journey. So it's always important to stay positive, keep moving forward, keep doing your best. Sometimes there's gonna be setbacks, hard times, challenges, pain and suffering. Life is hard, but we're all in this together. This is an awesome community. You're in great hands here with Dante. You just gotta keep elevating, keep being positive.
Yeah, man. That's beautiful, man. Hey, well, I appreciate you for, your time and your energy coming on my channel and really spitting gems, man, and giving motivation.
This has been awesome. It's so important to be having masterminds with like-minded people. Yeah.
Always.
This is awesome.
If you guys haven't already, go ahead and go to GoldJacketLuke's channel, subscribe, go ahead and watch videos, go like the videos, man, share them. Make sure you hit that part one, the part one of this. And
appreciate that. Make sure to like this video, comment on this video. Yeah.
Yes, sir. But hey, we're gonna get out of here. Hey, man, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I appreciate you, Gold, again, for coming in. Hey, let's stay strong. Let's stay on our journey. Let's build that warrior mindset. All right. Hey, man, it's your boy Tay, and we out.